So good evening, everyone. I'm pleased to introduce our presenter for the evening, Amy Beaith. Many of you may have heard of her. She has been featured in Pathways, as well as doing talks for us, as well as the Canadian Lymphedema framework at conferences. She's a Lymphy. She's been practicing yoga for over 20 years and did her teacher training in 2023. She has primary lymphedema and knows firsthand the benefits that yoga can bring to living well with lymphedema. She's a strong believer in empowering lymphies through everyday self-care to change the impact lymphedema has on their lives. And so that is, I believe, the premise behind this practice, but I will let Amy introduce her practice.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Yeah, I have found yoga to be a really wonderful practice for moving my lymph, as well as just developing a deeper mind-body connection. It's helped me a lot with self-acceptance, self-compassion, calming, and just helping me cope with general everyday life challenges that aren't necessarily lymphy related, but sometimes they are. And so I really enjoyed the benefits of yoga. I started, 20 years ago, and I remember being so nervous the first time I went to a class, just being conscious of that I look different, I'm wearing compression, are people going to ask me to take my sock off, and things like that. But I went anyway, and it was a wonderful experience. I noticed that my body just felt different afterwards, like almost equivalent to going for a massage, as was the benefits for me. And I was just like, oh, this is really neat. This is something I can do like for myself. And it just made me really curious about other types of yoga, whether it was yin or hatha or more of a vinyasa flow, and just kind of exploring and experimenting the last kind of 20 years, depending on where I was living, to see how my body responded to the different types of yoga. And from there, I decided, you know what, I should just get my teacher training. So I did that at the start of the pandemic. I was going to do an in-person training, but everything went into lockdown. So like, you know what, I think I should just do it online, because it's probably going to be easier to teach people with lymphedema online anyway, because in some ways it's nice to stay at home. We can stay in our bandages if we want, and you can make it more adaptable sometimes than at a studio. So I thought, you know what, this is the best of both worlds. Yeah. Tonight, what I thought I would do is, it's the full moon, and I thought it'd be really fun to do a full moon practice. I don't know if you've heard of something called a moon salutation, but it's kind of the opposite of a sun salutation. Sun salutations can be warming, invigorating, really great for a morning wake up practice. It aligns us with that yang energy of the sun, so they can be heating. And the opposite of that is what's called a moon salutation. So it brings in kind of calming, cooling, helps activate our parasympathetic system, which is very connected to our immune health and our lymphatic health. It's really good when we can activate that parasympathetic rest, digest, repair state in our body, because it usually brings greater lymphatic flow to our cells. So I was going to work in a bit of that because it's full moon time. So I thought that'd be fun. It's evening. It's a nice practice to do in the evening, whereas sun salutation is good to do in the morning. Yeah, so I'm going to do a bit of that. In terms of like props that you'll need, I tried to make it really simple and gentle for tonight. So if you have some blocks, you can have those with you if you want to do it. If you want me to provide any corrections or guidance in terms of poses, I'd encourage you to turn your camera on. But if you want privacy and just want to do it on your own, in your own way, without feedback from me, you can leave your camera off and I will let you decide that. Okay. So when I was first introduced to Ayurveda, which talks a lot about lymph flow, feel free to enter any questions. Oh, that's a good idea. Yes, thank you. They actually talk about 4 different roles of the lymph system in our body in terms of, we've all heard that it's really important for detoxifying and cleansing our body, removing that waste. Tends to sometimes get thought of as like the trash removal system of the body. But in Ayurveda, they see it as much more in depth. And Ayurveda is the sister science to yoga. So I often try and weave in a little bit of Ayurvedic sciences into my yoga practice as well. So I get the benefits of both for the lymphatic system. So the other roles that Ayurveda sees for the lymphatic system is one of its primary roles is nourishment. It's considered the first tissue of the body that is formed after digestion. And so its role as a liquid is to carry those water-soluble nutrients and fat-soluble nutrients to our cells to help build the next 6 layers of tissue, which is our blood, then our muscle, our bone, our nervous tissue, our reproductive tissue. And so that's really neat when you think of it that way. They really think of as water as life. It's the carrier of oxygen in our body. And that'll come up again when we get into our pranayama practices. So we're going to have kind of a self-massage sequence to open up our lymphatic channels. We're going to go into some pranayama practices. Then we'll get into our moon salutation series, and then we'll finish off with a short cool down and into Savasana. So all in all, it should be about an hour pass. Okay. So we'll start with you can stay standing on your mat. We're gonna start in mountain pose. And so in mountain pose, you want your feet about hip width apart, and you can place your hands at your heart center. And you can just kind of practice rocking back and forth on your feet from your toes to your heels. And you can go a little bit side to side. And you want to find your center and find that place where you just feel nice and steady and confident. You want to lift up the energy from the feet up through your legs to feel that nice kind of tensing of your quad muscles. You're engaging them to help support you. And that's a really good pose. So that's going to be one of our resting poses tonight. What I love to do, no matter what exercise I'm doing, but especially at the beginning of a yoga sequence, is I do a self-massage sequence, and it's based on manual lymph drainage. And then the series of poses that I teach are based on the manual lymph drainage technique too. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our collarbone areas. That's one of the main drains of the body to help the lymph return back to the blood through the heart and get reoxygenated again. So what you're going to do is just take the palm of your hand and keep it flat. You're going to look for that little dip in your collarbone. I'll come here and just come a little closer. So you're looking for that little dip just above your collarbone, but you also have a little dip below. And we're going to do both. So what you want to do is just take your palm and just gently pull the skin just enough to drag it, just to feel the skin lift and move a little bit. And do that about 10 times on one side above the collarbone. Then we'll go below the collarbone as well before we switch to the other side. So just about 10 above and 10 below. And then when you're ready, and you've done your 10, you can switch over to the other side, looking for that same crevice there too. just above and below. You're helping open up that drain to return, help the lymph return back to our heart. And this pose you can do standing, you can do seated as well. I'll let you decide based on your ability and comfort level if you want to come to a seat on the floor or on a chair while we do this. It's really up to you and what you feel comfortable doing. The next one is we're going to open up our neck. So we're going to cup our hands slightly, and then we're going to take it along the back of our neck, and we're going to drag it towards our spine, and then we're going to sweep it down. So as we breathe in, we're going to breathe in as we go back towards our spine, and then breathe out as we come down back towards our collarbone. You can do that with both hands at the same time, like this. Or you can do with one, whichever easier for you. So you want to do about 10 drags on your hand, and just notice if you start to feel a little bit of tingling, a little bit of cool feeling, and that might be just feeling your lymph starting to move, starting to open up those nice pathways for you. Can everybody see me okay?
Yes.
You can raise your hand or, yeah, okay, great. Thank you. If you're feeling congested at all, the nice thing to do after this one is you could do Spock fingers and just come along either side of your ear and just drag it down towards your neck. You can do a couple there and just experiment with how it feels. Now that we've opened up our neck, the next area we want to open up as we work down to open up our main drains in our body is our shoulder area. We have lots of lymph nodes all around our neck, through our shoulder bones into our armpits. There are around our breast tissue, there's a lot. So it's a nice area to really open up and work on. We're gonna do going to start with shoulder shrugs. So you can just come back to mountain pose and just place your hands loosely at your side. Give them a little shake so you know that you're not clenching them and you're just letting those arms rest by your side. And as you breathe in, you're going to lift your shoulders up. And then as you breathe out, you're going to drop them and just let them fall. If you have any injuries in your shoulders, you just be gentle and mindful of that for yourself. And we'll do that about 10 times. When we use our breath in yoga, we're using our diaphragm, and that's one of our biggest lymphatic muscles. Our lymph moves through our breath, through muscle movement. So it is a wonderful one to work on, to engage, and to activate it. And it's just kind of falls below your rib cage here and just seals or helps separate the cavities between your abdominal organs and your chest cavity. But it serves a very important purpose in terms of flushing the lymph when we breathe in and breathe out. It helps pull our lymph back from our extremities back towards our thoracic duct and up to return in our collarbone. So we're kind of opening those channels down through our body, kind of like removing. Some people say it's like a traffic jam. You're moving the cars at the beginning of the traffic jam to get them out of the way, so the ones that are further behind have somewhere to go. You can think of it as like a log jam. Same idea as you're removing those logs that are at the front so that the ones in the middle and then at the back can start moving. And so this is kind of the front of the log jam, our collarbones and our shoulders. After you've done those shoulder shrugs, another shoulder one you can do is just place your hands on either side of your shoulders here, like that. And we're just gonna do circles in one direction, and then we'll do them in the other way. We're gonna align our movement with our breath. So as we breathe in, we'll raise our arms up. And then as you get to the top, then you're gonna start to breathe out. When our breath can help activate our parasympathetic nervous system is when our exhale is just a little bit longer than our inhale. It doesn't have to be a big difference, but even just a little bit is very helpful. And the longer it is that you can grow that with time, the more activating for your parasympathetic rest and digest and repair. So just on your own pace, just breathe in. And then breathe out to bring your arms back down. If you'd like a little bit more of a challenge with this one, you can lift up on your toes as you're breathing in. You can and come back down. So yeah, that's a great one to do. It often feels really nice in the morning. If you feel stiff at all when you wake up, that can be a really nice one to just do even while you're sitting up in bed. Okay. The other one I learned from a lymphatic yoga book that the author's from Italy, and her last name is Wallace. She wrote a book called The Lymphatic Yoga. From that one, it's called shoulder drags. So what you're doing is you're grabbing onto this muscle that's just above your shoulder blade, and you're dragging down. So we're, again, aligning our movement with our breath. And you can do this on one shoulder at a time or both. And you're gonna breathe in as you lift up, and then breathe out as you drag your hands down. And that's just helping that fluid return through the drain, because maybe it's starting to be activated and open up there. It can feel nice just to massage your shoulders, release some muscle tension. So just do 10 there at your own pace. And to get the next one is we're going to come back to Tadasana. We're going to do a more active version of Tadasana by using our shoulders, and we're going to raise our arms up. So kind of just give them a shake again at the end. You can also just give yourself a little shake all over. That can be really nice for our lymph. I like it. And as you breathe in, raise your arms up. Give yourself a nice stretch here. If you want to lean a little ways back, you're welcome to as well. And then we're just going to bring our arms down to the side as we breathe out. We're going to aim for our exhale to be a little bit longer than our inhale. So just pay attention to your breath, kind of like a moving meditation in a way when you start kind of aligning your movements with your breath. Yoga. So go back in. You can just keep going at your own pace, do about 10. That's 3 I did there with you, so you can do another 7. Your own. And like the other pose I did with the shoulder drags, if you'd like to make it more active, you can come up on your toes while you breathe in. And that is a nice kind of balancing pose too. That's a little bit more beginner friendly than maybe doing tree pose. If you want to try that, but it feels a little too wobbly, you can grab a chair and you could hold on to the back of a chair and you could do one arm at a time while you lift your feet up as well. So that's a modification you could try if you like. In the next part, we're going to do a little bit more pranayama to really get our breath going, help cleanse our body, help activate our lymph. And one of the really wonderful things about pranayama and that extending the exhale, what happens, you can come down to a seat on a chair or seat on a mat. One of the things about pranayama techniques in activating a longer exhale than our inhale, what that does is it helps our body hold on to CO2. And what that does is it helps our body release oxygen from the blood because our body will hold on to that oxygen and not send it to the cells if it feels like there's not enough carbon dioxide in the body. And that can happen when we're in fight and flight, when we're anxious, when we're stressed. We don't send as much oxygen to our cells, and our lymph really needs that oxygen to do its job in our cell functioning, giving energy to our mitochondria, and helping the cells carry out what they need to do. So by lengthening our exhale, we hold in a little bit more carbon dioxide that activates our blood to our hemoglobin to release that oxygen, which is really, really great for our lymph. Kind of neat, eh? What we're gonna do is we're going to, have you guys, this is called ocean breath or ujjayi breath. And what you're doing is you're bringing an audible sound to your breath so you can really hear your inhale and your exhale. Similar sound you would make if you were, say, fogging up a mirror or cleaning your glasses, going like that. And you're kind of slightly constricting your throat muscles so that you can make that sound at the back of your throat. Yeah. And you're breathing in through your nose. And breathing out through your nose. When we breathe in through our nose, it warms the air for our body, it cleanses it with all our microbiome that we have in our nostrils before it goes into our cavity. And it does a better job of that than when we breathe in through our mouth. So that is called ujjayi breath. I'd like you to try and cultivate that for the remainder of our practice as we're aligning our breath with our movements. So let's practice it here for a minute just to get comfortable with that sound that you've got. So you can close your eyes if you like, help you focus on your breathing. And just notice as you're breathing in to make that audible sound. You can count your breathing. That can help our body relax and stop kind of noticing all the wonderful thoughts that come through our mind and our brain. Helping the body calm down. You can start with an equal breath to get yourself going. So we'll do 3 together. 1, 2, 3. out, 2, 3. Then you can try lengthening it to 4. So we'll breathe in for 3 and out for 4. So 1, 2, 3, and breathe out, 2, 3, 4. As we're doing this breathing, you're welcome to put your hands on your belly. And I'd really like you to try and breathe in through your belly instead of up here in our chest. We want to activate our diaphragm. We do that by our deep belly breathing. You can put your hands on your abdomen and you can feel them coming in and out. And if your mind starts to wander, feel free to just start counting again. It very quickly settles your mind, helps activate the parasympathetic and bring you back to your breath, bring you back to focusing on your breath. In Ayurveda, they like to think of all our lymph channels as nadis. So if you've ever heard of sometimes that's tagged onto a pranayama technique, you might see like nadi shodhana, and that's to activate our lymphatic channels through breathing. And that one is it uses alternate nostril breathing. We're going to try that. What you're going to do is you're going to have your thumb, your index finger, and your pinky up, and your middle finger and your ring finger down towards your hand. And you can use either hand, whichever one feels comfortable for you. And what you're doing with your hands is you're going to use your thumb to close off your right nostril. We're going to start on the left, and we're just going to breathe in to a count of 4. With our left nostril, we're going to close our left nostril as we hold for a count of 4, and then we're going to breathe out our right nostril. So you're creating this breathing arc pattern going back and forth through your nostrils. It balances the left and right hemispheres in the brain. It also balances our parasympathetic and our sympathetic, our yin and our yang, kind of fire energy and our water energy. So it can be really nice if you're under stress, if you've had a stressful day. Nice practice before bed, just calming your mind, and it helps activate that lymphatic flow that we want. So we'll do it together here. I'm just gonna repeat that again. We're gonna close our right nostril, breathing in our left to a count of 4. Close our left nostril as we hold for 4. And breathe out, 2, 3. Okay. We're going to go back to our pranayama. We're doing alternate nostril breathing, and we're just practicing going back and forth of in, hold, and then out, hold, in, hold, out, hold is what you're going for. And you want to do that for a couple of minutes. Then we're going to come into a very activating breath. And this one's very warming, getting us ready for sort of our next set of body movements, wake us up. And it's called breath of fire or Bastriki breath. We're going to take that hand and we're going to place it on our lower abdomen again. And you can place your other hand on your heart if you like. What we're doing here, and I'll turn a bit to the side so you can see my abdomen better, is we're doing a forced exhalation, but we're really doing belly breathing. So your upper hand shouldn't move much at all. You're not breathing in with your chest. You're breathing in down here. And you want to feel that movement, and that's really strengthening the muscle of our diaphragm. It also cleanses the lower lobes of our lungs and helps expel any sort of toxins or lymph that's gotten a little bit of stagnant down there. If we're not breathing into that lower area, that can happen. And so what we're doing is we're just gonna force, just gonna notice kind of a natural breath for a second, and then you're gonna force your breath out through your nose. Force the exhale, and you're going to feel your tummy come in towards your spine as you do that. And your body will naturally inhale. You don't have to really think about it. It just naturally will happen, and that's kind of the neat thing about our breath. It's both something we can bring consciousness to, and our body just does it automatically too if we're not paying attention, which is great. So we'll start here. We'll just you should feel the breath and your muscles moving all around your abdominal area. You might feel it into the back body, into your side body, into your abdomen, and you can just keep going at your own pace there. We're just going to do it for 1 minute. If you at all feel dizzy, just stop and just come back to a normal breath. Sometimes it makes me cough. I think that's a good thing. It's just kind of opening up my pathways. If you find that too, don't worry. You can just come back to natural breath or grab a sip of water. But yeah, that's a technique that you can work on. It's really good for drawing the lymph from the extremities. So from your arms and from your legs back to our core to come up to our thoracic duct and get cleaned again. So that one's a really good one, something simple and easy you can do any time of day. Now we're going to come into some of our seated floor poses, and then we'll get into our moon salutation. So from here, we're going to do a seated cat-cow. Sometimes you see it in a tabletop cat-cow where you're like this, and you're arching your back as you breathe in, and then rounding your back to cat as you breathe out. But if you find it difficult to be down on your hands, or that's not accessible for you, you can do this from a chair, or you can do this sitting cross-legged on the floor, and it's called seated cat-cow. So we place our hands on our knees, extend our back, feel nice and tall, and then as we breathe in, turn sideways. You can see here. So I'm extending my back to be nice and tall. And as I breathe in, I'm going to arch my back and lift my chin. And as I breathe out, I'm gonna round my back, but I'm not collapsing like this. I'm really kind of trying to keep my back long. This spinal flexion is wonderful for flushing the lymph all around our spinal and our abdominal areas. So just follow your own breath and work on cultivating that ocean breath so you can hear your breathing. And you can just go at your own pace. We'll do that about 10 times. And you can use your arms to really hold your knees so that you can get a nice deep stretch. You might feel it into your arms and your shoulders too. Great as well. As we work our way down our body, through our chest and down to our groin, we're going to do some seated twists. And so how we're going to do that is we're going to extend our legs out long in front of us, like this. And we're going to do on the left side first. So I want you to bring up your right leg into so that your foot is flat, close to your knee. And then we're just going to lift our right leg over top of our left. Now there's two ways you can do this twist, which is kind of fun. You can take your right arm around your right knee and lift your spine. You want to be twisting from your spine, not twisting here. You want to lift up and be nice and straight and just gently stretch back behind you. If you'd like a more of a challenge, you can look over your left shoulder and just work on that ocean breath, feeling the breath coming in and out of your belly. Notice how your abdominal area feels by breathing while you're in this twist. Some yogis and some textbooks kind of describe these abdominal twists as like squeezing a sponge. So it helps flush our abdominal organs like our liver, our intestines, our pancreas, our stomach. And what it does by doing that is it helps new blood come in. And so it's like wringing a sponge, cleanse the lymph and the blood, and then new lymph can come in, replenish, rejuvenate. That's our twist on that side. Keeping your leg in the same position, we're now going to take our right arm around our left knee. So you want to try and line up your elbow with your kneecap. And we're just going to twist the other way. We're going to twist to our right side. Again, try and keep your spine long and then twist from the base of your spine. You may be able to look over your right shoulder if you'd like a little bit more of a challenge. We'll just come back to center. We'll lift our leg down and I'm gonna just stretch it out and give it a little bit of a shake. Anytime you want, you can go down to your ankles and just rub your legs back up. Our body really responds when we touch our limbs, helps activate the production of oxytocin, serotonin, makes our body happy. So lift up our left knee. And you might notice if you have swelling on one side of your leg, not the other, you might notice this will feel different from side to side. I know I do. I have swelling in both, but my left is bigger than my left, and my right is my left is bigger than my right. There, I finally got that right. I'm gonna lift my left knee over top of lift my left foot over top of my right knee and place it on my mat. I'm going to put my elbow on the inside of my left knee so that I can twist to the right, keeping my spine long and lifted. Feel like you're lifting your energy up from the base of your spine, up through the top of your head. You come into your twist and look over your right shoulder, if that works for you. Come back towards center. We're going to hook our right arm around our left knee so that we can come back and twist to the right. So there's some nice seated twists. One more area we're going to do to just try and open up our groin is called seated pigeon. So if you're in a chair, do this from the edge of my couch so you can see it. Is you would come seated on a chair or on the edge of your couch, whatever works for you. And then I'm gonna lift my right leg up over my left to come into a nice stretch. Sometimes it's called figure 4 stretch. This is seated pigeon pose. So that's one way that you can activate that opening of the groin area there to help flush our lymphatic lymph nodes that are there. You can do this reclined as well. It's called reclined pigeon pose, and that's what I'll show you here. So I'm going to come down onto my mat, onto my back, and then I'm going to lift my legs up in the air and then place them back down. And so there, my back's got a nice little bit of an arch there. My feet are flat on the floor. I'm going to lift my right leg up over my left and place it across my knee, across my left thigh. Now I've got a nice figure 4 shape again. I'm going to pull my legs up into the air. You can see here if this is where you want to be. This is our most gentle version of it. If you'd like a more active version of it, you can lift your legs into the air and place one hand through the center of your figure 4 and around the back so that your arms are meeting at the back of your left thigh with your right ankle across your left thigh. You're going to feel a nice stretch in your hips on both sides. And that helps open up that area, releasing the fascia, releasing the muscles, the tendons and the cartilage so lymph can flow around our hips again to come up from our extremities. We'll stay here for another few seconds. When I teach this in a yin class, I would probably stay here for 1 minute or so. And that helps really activate the fascia release. So keep cultivating that ocean breath. And see if you can release a little bit more into the pose. Just notice if you're tensing anywhere, if there's anywhere that you can soften a little bit more. You might hear your tummy start to gurgle. This is also working on our abdominal area again too. We're going to release our hands and let our left foot come back to the floor. We're gonna lift up our right leg, place it back on the floor. And just kind of notice how you feel. And then we're gonna do it on the other side. We're gonna lift up our left leg and place it on our right thigh. So our ankle is on our right thigh. We're gonna reach through our figure four. And we're gonna wrap our hands around our left or our right thigh. And enjoy that juicy stretch as you cultivate your ocean breath. You can stay here for 5 breaths. We're really helping our bodies settle. It's a nice calming practice for the evening, helping our body relax, activate our lymph, our parasympathetic nervous system. And just let something go. You can sigh it out here. Just let something go that you need to let go. We'll release our hands. Bring our foot back down to our floor. Gonna release, lift our left leg, bring it back down to the floor as well. And we'll come back up into sitting. From here, we're gonna get into our moon salutation. There's many different versions of this, just like sun salutation. I'm going to teach you a beginner one that doesn't have the deep lunges in it, but I will teach a full one another time. I just want to make this class as accessible as possible, not knowing who's attending and who's going to be watching the replay. And help you feel like you can do yoga. Yoga is really for everybody. You don't need to have super fit body like you see on Instagram to do yoga. Everybody can do yoga, including lymphedema bodies for sure. So to do our moon salutation, we're going to come back to our Tadasana pose. And we'll just keep our hands on our chest here. Just find that center again. Is my microphone still active?
I can still hear you. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so come back to our mountain pose. Our feet are hip width apart, hands at our chest, prayer pose. As we breathe in, we're going to raise our hands up and keep our palms together this time. And as we breathe out, we're going to go to our right side into a crescent moon position. We're going to feel our hip kind of jut from our right towards our left. Accentuate that bend and crescent pose. Come to our right as we breathe out. And then breathe back in. Root center, feel yourself lift up a little bit. And we'll breathe out as we come to our right side. Or sorry, our left side. I'm looking at the picture of myself and then that confuses me, sorry. Breathe in again. We'll do one more round on either side. And breathe out towards our right, cultivating that ocean breath. From here, we're going to do star pose. This one's a really lovely one for opening up all the lymphatic channels at the exact same time. So you're literally coming into the shape of a star. From Tadasana, we're going to step our legs out to about 3 feet apart, and then we're going to spread our hands wide. And just feel like you're taking in a big breath. And then we're going to wrap our arms around us and give ourselves a hug. Just give yourself a nice hug. Come back to star pose. Then we're going to turn our feet out to the sides a little bit. Turn our feet out parallel to the length of our mat. We're going to drop down into goddess pose. So we're going to hinge our arms to come down like this. We're going to squat so that we feel that nice stretch in here. We're going to keep our belly long. You want to feel like you're like sideways squatting. So your legs are coming out either side. Then we're going to come back into star pose again. And we're going to tilt down to our right side. Do extended. We're going to do a side angle here. We'll lift ourselves back up into star. And we're going to hinge at the hips and come into a forward, wide-legged forward fold. Oh, you can tilt your feet back towards the side of your mat. Going down into our wide-legged forward fold. You can let your head hang here. Enjoy this abdominal compression. You might feel a nice hamstring stretch. Calf stretch, ankle stretch. And placing your hands on your hips, we're going to come back up into, or sorry, I missed one. What we're going to do from here, from our forward fold, we're going to place both hands down on the ground, and we're going to open up to our right side, just like we did on, so we're going to place our left hand in the center, and we're going to open our body up to the right as we lift our right arm up to the sky. Come back down to forward fold. Gonna lift our hands up to our hips and feel your abdomen work here as you lift yourself back up to standing without arching your back. Come back into star pose. I'm going to turn our feet back out and do one more goddess. Come back up into star pose again, and then into our moon crescent. You can place your feet together if you like. You want to feel the difference of them apart versus them together. And then we'll breathe in as we lean towards the right. And breathe out as we lean towards the right. And then breathe in, back at center. Breathe out as we come down to the left. Breathe in as we come back down. Bring our hands back down to center. And that was one round of moon salutation. Now we did the side angle opening on this side. So the next round is we will do all the same poses, but we're going to do that side angle opening on the other side. Okay. My cat is just totally distracting me. At least he's cute.
He's not even doing the poses. Come on.
Funny. All right, we'll come back to Tadasana and we'll do another round again. Notice how your body's feeling. It can be really nice for opening up this area, especially if you've sat all day, because we tend to just kind of sit in this position. We tend not to move our bodies in a horizontal fashion. And that's what I love about the moon salutation, is it really makes us aware of that we can move our body in lateral ways, not just back and forth, forward. So it's a nice reminder of that. Okay, let's start in our Tadasana again. We're going to lift our hands up as we breathe in. And we'll breathe out as we come to the right. And we'll breathe out as we come to the left. Coming back down. The center, we'll step out into our star pose. This time, I want you to put the opposite hand on top of what you did last time. You may have to think about it. You have to think about it for a second, too. Give yourself a nice, juicy hand. And squeeze your shoulder blades, your shoulders here. And open up as you breathe in. And then come down to goddess as you breathe out. Turning your feet out to the sides, arms out to the side, tuck your tailbone under. And then come back up into star pose again. This time we're going to do our extension on the left side. So we're going to bring our right arm, let's see, I don't know how I did this before. Yes. Bring my right arm down on my left leg. Come across as a stretch, and then I'm going to lift up my right arm up to the sky. Feel that nice opening across your shoulder into your armpit. Feel that nice twist in your back. Maybe even a little bit of an inner thigh stretch here too. It's really lovely when you're stretching lots of different areas at the same time. And we'll lift ourselves back up to star pose. We're going to place our hands on our hips and have your feet pointing the same direction as your body. And we're going to come down, wide-legged forward fold. So really feel that bend from the hips, keeping your knees and your legs straight, not locked, but straight here. And down the forward fold. If you can't, if you would like to place your hands on some blocks, you're welcome to do that too. And kind of raise your body up. If getting all the way down is too much of a challenge for where you're at right now, that is a-okay. Use the blocks to help you. That's what they're there for. If you don't have blocks, you can use a stack of books. People and books, or maybe a cat. And then place your hands on your hips again. And we're going to come down and do our opening on the left side, just like we did with our side angle. So we're going to place our right hand in the center of our mat here, and then we're going to lift, going to twist and lift our right hand up to the sky. Stay here for a couple breaths. And come back down the center, lift our hands to our hips. Come back up for a little star pose. One more goddess pose. Activate our feminine energy. star. And come back up to our moon. Breathe in, lean to the right, to breathe out. Breathe in, lifting yourself up nice and tall. Breathe over to the right, the left side, jutting your hips to the right. That was a moon salutation series. We did 2 rounds. If it's time. Let me see if we have time for one more. I don't think we have time for one more. So you can, you will get the replay of this and you can just kind of go through it and do like up to 5 or 10 rounds. Can be really nice before bed to calm your body down. And from there, what I'm going to suggest is we can just do, we can come back down to the floor to get ourselves ready for Savasana. Savasana sometimes is a pose that people will skip at the end, thinking, I don't have time for that, I gotta get going. And it's a really, really important pose that helps your body take all those memories of what you've just been doing in the yoga pose and kind of put them away in your body, help it remember kind of what those poses feel like, and use that time that you have set aside to practice and be with your body in a positive way. Align your mind, body, soul connection. So we'll do one more active pose here that I love to do that's called boat. And it has lots of different variations depending on what your ability is. You could be just staying here and just kind of gently lifting your feet off the floor, activating your abdomen. When our core is strong, our diaphragm is strong, and we can pull more lymph up. So it's good to work on our abdominal strength. You can lean back and get your legs up to halfway bend. Raise your arms up along the side here. And you're balancing just on your tailbone. You want to keep your back lifted and active. You don't want to round your back. You want to keep it nice and straight. And just cultivate a nice natural breath there as we come back down to sitting again. We're going to do one more twist. This is a really nice one to do laying down. So we're going to come down to our back. And actually, before we do the twist, we'll do legs in the air because it's a really lovely one to do. This is a great one to do if you have a wall handy as well. But I will show you kind of the version you can just do at home without a wall. And if you do have a wall, it's just kind of that extra calming, nice pose. This is called candlestick pose, where my back is long, stretched on the floor, my arms are out flat, I'm lifting from the hips and keeping my legs long. My feet are flexed here. The simple way to activate the lymph in our calves is through toe bending and ankle bending with our breath, so we can kind of breathe in as we flex our toes. We can breathe out as we crunch and round them. And breathe in. And if you have lymphedema in your feet, this is a lovely one to work on your toe strength, your toe flexibility. So when you get swelling in our toes, It reduces the arch that we have and how hard our calf muscles can work as well. So working on your toes has benefits all the way up your body, helping you stay active and stable and balanced. Now, taking that same idea, we'll just flex our whole foot now from the ankle. So when we breathe out, our foot will be flexed here. And when we breathe in, our feet will be extended. Just cultivate that ocean breath again. This helps flush the lymph nodes that we have in our ankle joints. It also helps activate our calf muscles to move the lymph up our legs. Having our legs raised just helps gravity do that work of draining for us. So it can be very relieving. Activates our parasympathetic nervous system too by just having our legs up in the air to rest and relax. And that's a simple one you can do before bed. Really lovely. Or any time of day, you get a little bit of a break. It's nice to do. We'll bring our feet back down to our mat. And we're going to do a supine twist, a spinal twist, laying down. So we're going to lift our both legs up into child's pose on our back. Just give ourselves a little bit of a hug. Rock our legs back and forth. Activates the kidneys, helps flush them by rolling back and forth. And our kidneys play a really crucial role in helping eliminate water waste from our body. So we want to send them some love. Thank them for helping us. Okay, so now that we're done all our twists, what we're going to do now is we're going to go into Savasana. So it's really great if you have a blanket. I'm just going to grab them here. You can grab a pillow. I love to place the pillow just kind of under my knees, in my back a little nice support. And you're just gonna come down, laying flat on your back, on your mat. Get yourself all nice and cozy. And this won't be a full recording of Savasana. I'm just gonna show you how to set it up. And then you can just hit stop on the video and just continue on. You're just gonna come down, lay flat on your back, your arms out to your sides, and really just kind of relax. Let something go, soften your eyes, soften your face. Thank your body, thank your soul, thank your mind for coming today to practice. You are worth your time and effort, your self-care. This is a beautiful gift of self-care to your body. And you're just going to relax as you breathe in and breathe out. Just work on softening your body. Thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate you. And for everyone who's watching the recording, thank you so much for watching to the end. I'm going to place my hands up at my third eye. In gratitude to you for coming today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My heart to yours. Lymph well to live well.